talk about the Breakfast Club now. For those of you who don't know, the Breakfast Club is a morning show on Revolt TV and Power 105.1 in New York, and it's owned by iHeartRadio, and it's a
Syndicated now. I think they might be in a 90-something markets or something like that.
oh, okay, so they're all over the country, majority of the country.
Yeah.
They are a show that features Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, and before they had Angela Lee, but she left in 2022 to pursue her own avenues, her own career. And now from since 2022, they've been looking for a new host. So they've tried out people like Lauren LaRosa. They've tried out Jason Lee. They've tried out people like any type of celebrity that would come on the show and do that. So they tried out many people, but the person that kind of stuck and was kind of doing, recurring shows and things like that was Jess Hilarious. Now, you guys might not know who Jess Hilarious is. Jess Hilarious is a Baltimore comedian, out in her mid 20s. She got very popular doing like skits and things like that on like Instagram, TikTok. And then she got really famous because she got shot out by like Kevin Hart and all these other famous comedians. And, she's been doing tours and she's been on Wildin' Out a lot. She has her own podcast. I think it's called Recklessly Hilarious or something like that. Something like that. So right now, the Breakfast Club is kind of up in the air as to who their host is. They don't really know who they're going to go with. They don't even know if it's going to be Just Hilarious. But I'll just read into something I seen in an article about the kind of what led up to it. So, I already talked about. So the Breakfast Club had rotating co-hosts, including Just Hilarious, who later announced as a permanent replacement. So they announced her as a permanent replacement. But then things kind of went left. Jess was notably absent at the start of the new year, leading to confusion among the hosts about the co-host situation. Charlamagne the God expressed uncertainty about whether they would have another co-host in 2024. He said in a Breakfast Club interview, he was talking and he said, "Man, I don't know when we're gonna get a third host. It might just be me and Evie." So he said something similar to that. On January 23, Jess took a jab at DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God for comparing SZA to Mary J. Blige, calling them trash and stating that artists get upset when they make such comparisons. The comments on her Instagram story led to mixed interpretations, with some speculating it could signal an end to her involvement with the show. Charlamagne mentioned on January 16th that he didn't know where Jess was and that he's done with the rotating guest host. Jess' tenure on the show had controversy, including a standoff with Sexy Red over past critiques, though they seemingly made amends later. TMZ reported Charlamagne's comments about Jess focusing on her podcast and stand-up, indicating her engagement in other projects. Some question the status of Jess as a co-worker, hinting at potential tension between her and the other co-hosts. The situation has created uncertainty about the co-host dynamics on The Breakfast Club, with Jess' status and future involvement unclear. What's your take on that, bro?
I've been a Breakfast Club fan for a long time, man. Damn, I'm trying to think how far back it even goes at this point. Breakfast Club has been going on over 10 years now.
Probably like 2011, 2012, around that time.
Yeah. That sound about right. That definitely sound about right. I don't know, man. I wasn't a fan of the rotating guest thing. If I'm being honest with you, I wasn't a fan of it. No knock on Jess Hilarious. No knock on Lauren LaRosa, because I saw them on there regularly. Jason Lee would be on there here and there, and like you said, they every now and again when they had a celebrity guest, they would host with them for the day. But the big names was or the recurring names, I should say, was Lauren and Jess.
Shout out to
And
Lauren LaRosa. She's from Delaware.
We're shout out to Lauren LaRosa, formerly at TMZ. Dope girl too. Jess is dope too, man. No taking nothing away from her, but I don't think that they fit the dynamic of the show. And that's crazy because like I don't think Angela Yee got the credit that she maybe deserved when she was there.
Yeah.
Because Charlamagne's star was growing so much at the time that like, it was going to be hard for anybody to get much spotlight or much attention as that third chair. But Angela Yee was a dope co-host, man. And so
Right.
the process that they've been going through to try and find somebody to fill those shoes has been a difficult one. At this point, I don't necessarily think that a third co-host benefits them anyway. I don't know anybody that stands out enough to or has enough of a presence culturally that could come there and have an impact. So you got people like Jess and Lauren who were on the show and contributed often and made very good contributions to the show. But their presence just wasn't something that you yearned for, that you tuned in for to see. And so the camaraderie that is clear between Envy and Charlemagne um carries the show at this point. Like
Right.
that's how the show still exists at this point, is the camaraderie and the relationship that those two have. It's, they piggyback off of each other really well. They joke with each other really well, and so when you bring in a third co-host, it's almost like somebody who's not included in the joke. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they telling jokes and the other person isn't even really included in it. So um I don't know if I agree with them in terms of like killing the whole rotating guest thing. I mean, yeah, the rotating
Yeah.
host thing, because it wasn't working. I don't think that it helped or hurt the team or the show in any way. Um, I'm I mean, I wouldn't say that they should rebrand, because the Breakfast Club is a brand now that's synonymous with the culture. They've had some of the biggest moments that we've had in the last decade have been on the Breakfast
Right.
Club. Um, so I don't necessarily know what the plan is. Obviously, I'm not. We're not a part of that show to know. But as far as what they've publicized, I mean, sometimes I think they trolling. Like I don't know if they be trolling or not in terms of what the overall plan is, because I think they know. I think they got an idea of what they're doing, but they're just not publicizing it or putting it out there just yet. But I don't think that the third host is necessary for them at this point. They're well established. The show is well established. They can get any guests that they want. Um, they've got other ventures outside of the Breakfast Club, so it's not like they have to do or go above and beyond to make the Breakfast Club pop. So um yeah, man, I think that as long as they stay consistent as far as the guests that they bring on and the content that they push out, um, a third co-host is just not necessary. I like Teslin Figaro, who's on there. She does like front page news for them and stuff. I enjoy her. She comes on and talks politics and things like what's going on in certain aspects. So I like her contributions to the show. But I just don't think that at this point it's even necessary or something that they need to be actively pursuing. If there's somebody who naturally fits, then dope. But the people who they've had thus far clearly were just like Angela Yee replacements, and you can't replace Angela Yee. So
No.
they gotta they either gotta stick to the formula of just two hosts, or somebody has to emerge that has real presence. But I don't see that happening at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think you're right. I think the third host thing, I think they can kind of scrap that. They can carry the show themselves. I think with Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy doing it, I think they can kind of carry the show themselves. Keep continuously doing their interviews, interviewing guests, and I think Charlemagne the God, he's really good at doing interviews, really doing podcasts. So I don't think they really need a third host. I think yeah, I don't think they need one. I think they could do it where they can do a celebrity guest host every once in a while. Like I don't mind that. Like have somebody be a celebrity guest host, but a permanent third host, there's not really a lot out there that you could choose from. And then the people that they've had haven't really made a lot of waves, haven't really done anything. I really do think like Jess Hilarious. I mean, I think her. I'm be honest. I think her energy is a little bit too much for me. Like her energy is a little bit too masculine. I think Angela Lee was kind of countered their energy a lot, and she kind of
Yeah.
gave off that nice femininity energy. So I think that kind of really kept the glue because she came in asking questions about relationships, love, like how do you feel about this, like, and she would ask hard hitting questions as well. And I think that kind of keyed the show balance because you had back in the day, you had Charlamagne ask the most craziest, outlandish question. You had DJ Envy who kind of asked the real modest question, and then you had Angela who asked like the questions about love and sex and all this other stuff. So I think it was a
Yeah.
good balance. You had it like that. I think it was a really good balance. And then as Charlamagne got better, Angela Lee got better. DJ Envy got better. So they got better at being doing great interviews. But I just don't think there's someone that can really replace that. And I really don't think, I really think they really didn't think of it like that. I think they kind of she wanted to do her own thing. Cool. Who do we have to replace? I don't think they groomed anybody for that. They didn't really take anybody and say, I'm gonna put you under my wing to watch and learn and do all that. So you put somebody in that spot that really doesn't mesh well. Like I don't really care for Jess Hilarious on The Breakfast Club. I'm be honest. I don't really. The interviews they've had, I've watched 2 interviews where it was just them. They did one with Pierce Morgan, and they did one with Vivek Ramaswamy. I watched both of those interviews today. I didn't see a difference. Well, there was no difference to me, and they interviewed high-profile guests. So, to me, I didn't really see they needed a third host for that. It was very direct, straight to the point question. Boom, 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 boom. Same thing with Vivek. Shoot the shit. Ask questions. Boom, 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 boom. I don't really see the dynamic of a third guest. I think DJ Envy and Charlamagne, like you said, they're capable of. They have enough of a backing where that they're able to sustain this Breakfast Club with just them two until they're able to figure out another way.
No, definitely. And I mean, they got so much time built up. They have so much cultural equity built up that they're still going to be a draw. Like even when it comes down to the political stuff that we were just talking, to still be able to pull those politicians and presidential candidates, like it's so much of a brand that it's not a necessity. It's just not. I mean, they're such a corporate entity now too. Like you mentioned, they're iHeart, they're syndicated, so
Yep.
they're all
Yep.
across the country and multiple radio markets, to the point that you can't just put anybody there. I think they experimented with that, and they saw that it didn't produce results. Like it just didn't produce anything that was going to be worth continuing in the long run. So, shout out to the Breakfast Club, man. Shout out to the Breakfast Club, but I like it with just those two for now.
Yeah. And I just to piggyback, like I just wanted to say something about the Breakfast Club, like the interview they had with I think it was Pierce Morgan, and he was asking them questions like, you endorse Pierce Morgan was telling Trump, you endorse Biden, and he gonna say, no, I just endorse Kamala, and I'm like, she was the freaking vice president. Who the hell endorses a vice president? That doesn't make no sense.
I mean,
So,
I understand it, but you're right.
like
It's
you
not
could
like she
say
was
like
running.
I wanted her. I was really I was more rooting for her, but it's like, bro, don't make a difference. Like it's like she's not gonna do nothing. She's not gonna make the rules. She's not gonna you endorse her. You are also endorsing who the president is.
And that's a
Biden.
package deal. You can't endorse Kamala and say that you're
Yeah,
not
that's what I'm
endorsing Biden.
saying.
You know what I mean?
Like, come
Like
on,
her name is on the
I
ticket underneath
can't.
his. You feel me?
That's like if Trump picks Vivek and you say, "Oh, I like Vivek," and that's it. Nah, dude, you're gonna get Trump too. Like you're not just gonna get one or the other. You're gonna deal with that. Like
yeah.
crazy to me. And then Pierce called him out. Pierce called him out. Was like, well, you had Biden on the show here, and he said if you don't vote for black people,
Man.
you're not black. And Charlamagne was baffled. He brought that up, and this is like, it's politics, man. Like people say the craziest things, and it's just like, and now you see this guy's been in office for almost 4 years. All the black people that voted for him is just like, why did we do that? And then I kind of can see, like, even when Trump's getting in office, Trump's gonna have to do a lot of fixing. He's gonna have to spend a lot of money to do a lot of what he's promised. So It's probably going to be shitty the first a year and a half, 2 years. It's not going to be all glorious. You got to give shit time, and I think a lot of it you're gonna have to give him time to really make the changes because he's gonna be fixing a lot of shit. It ain't gonna happen overnight. He's gonna be fixing a lot of nonsense, like deporting all these illegals. He's talking about he's gonna deport. That costs a lot of money to do. Like, and I'm talking about illegals. We're not talking about legal immigrants. We're talking about illegals that came here illegally, didn't go through the proper channels. They gotta go. So he's gonna have to do all that. That's gonna cost mad money. Like, you imagine how much money that's gonna cost? And then other countries don't pay for that. We're paying travel to transport them to wherever they gotta go back. So that's my 10 on that. My little tangent.
Yeah, I had to let you go there, man.
Yeah, my little tangent.